Hi, over the next 15 to 20 minutes I'm going to talk about 10 good reasons for using Petrosys to map your data. We have an example of a Petrosys map on the screen at the moment, and there's a map book available at the trade show. Anyone wants to look at it, and ask some other people on the trade show booth how they go about making these great quality maps. So we're just going to go through the 10 advantages and 10 reasons why you might want to use Petrosys for your mapping. First one we're going to talk about is the better rendering of surfaces near faults. I'm here with a Petrosys map here, which is going to open up. I'll just zoom in a little on it. And what we can see here, what we're going to show, is how good Petrosys is at creating colourful surfaces and contours, particularly in faulted areas. We'll talk a little bit later about the colours and the translucency, and also there's another presentation where Andrew will talk about the creation of this information. So to start with, just the quality of the data around faults. Okay, the second good reason to use Petrosys for your mapping is the ability to directly connect to data to ensure ease when updating your maps. Open up the map again. This particular one, we're going to open up another map file. This one is connecting up to some kingdom data. That also has some patrol data as well. So this particular one, we can see these are the data types we have. So we have some data that's coming from Kingdom. We also have some more data from Kingdom, and also some well data and other data from Petrol. If we click on this window over here, we can show the data source. As we can see, some coming from Petrol, some coming from Kingdom. We also have some shape files. At the bottom we have a WMS server, the raster imagery coming from the MPD website. We can actually display this information all on our map. Once we actually bring up the individual display panels, what we can see is once we've selected the data we want to display from, so Kingdom, or from Petrol, or from OpenWorks, or from other data sources, the data selection at the top, the actual control over how the individual data type is displayed is consistent. So once you know how to display wells from Petrol, you'll know how to display wells from OpenWorks or from Kingdom or from any other of the many types of data that we can connect to. This means that using Petrosys you'll have very consistent maps, and they're all connected to the data store dynamically and directly. The next good reason is the live link to the data. So go back to our map. Here we'll see that we can actually look at the data. So in this particular case, we're going into the Kingdom database, and we have a live link into that data. And what that means is if I go to the layer itself, I could actually decide to connect up to some interpreted data. In this case, we're going to connect up to this horizon here, and we're actually going to show it as a river map on our map. So you have Kingdom working in one window and Petrosys in the other. Every time I press the redisplay button, I will actually see the interpretation that I've done on the other bit of software appearing on my map, live and dynamic. I'm going to move that to the top, and I can see my seismic data appearing live as I'm looking at it on the screen. Okay, the fourth good reason to use Petrosys for your mapping is the overpost resolution and other map editing tools. If I go into this data set here, I'll turn off the MPD data set, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to display some well data from our, in this case from our Oracle well database. So we'll click on this button here. The DB map and the database I'm going to connect to is this XE one. So we'll actually put some formation tops on here. Select the formation. I'll filter the formation, and it's the top edited formation I want to post. This is coming out of a PPDM database, an Oracle database. We'll say OK, and we'll see our well data and the posting of that data. So what we can do, rather than accepting the posting where the software wants to display that, we could actually, if we want to post or move the text. So I highlight it, over post correction. I can move it around if I want to. I can put a location. We'll say OK, and it'll move the location. And likewise, this one down here. So the geoscientist can tidy up the map and doesn't have to accept the locations and the style of the text of where the software wants to put it. Likewise, if we have some seismic data up here, where we've got an overposting issue here, we could actually select the seismic lines which are coming from Kingdom directly, and if we want to, we could just select some shot points and hide them. Or if I wanted to select data inside a box, I could do that as well. So I can just select some data and hide it, or move it as you wish to. Say OK. And you just tidy that layer of the map. So you can actually make sure that the map that you're creating is actually giving the best representation of your data. Okay, the fifth good reason to use Petrosys for your mapping is a simple map sheet manipulation. So in this particular example here, we've got an area that we've controlled. So this is the area we want our map to be, but we don't have to stick to that. So what we can do is we can go into what we call our map sheet, and we could actually resize that map sheet. So we could say, we'll go to a larger area, we'll say OK. We've expanded the area of this map. As you see, now we start to see some well data, some seismic data, which exists in that layer but was outside the area that we've chosen. So if we also switch our NPD on, we can see it'll go away and actually bring the NPD information back to for that whole area. So not just the original area we had. So that's one of the things we can do about the map sheet. What we can also do is, if we look down the title block, customize title blocks, there's a certain amount of information which is picked up automatically, the coordinate reference system, the name of the map file. You can also then these customized on site for customers. We can actually come in here and say EAGE map 10 by MB. And that should then pop back into the window. In here, we have scale bars, legends, north arrows, all the things you need on a map. So if we say to display the map elements, we've got the legends and the scale bars, which are all customizable by the users. It makes it very easy to generate a high quality map. So the next good reason to use Petrosys for the mapping is the grouping of layers, grouping layers together. For this, we're going to open up a new map file. Grouping of layers. Okay, so this map is over let's just open this up, full view. This map is over a larger area and has a lot more layers on it. We'll just zoom in on a section of this map. As you can see, we're in display order at the moment, but we can also, we showed you how we could group on data source, we can also group on data type. So all the spatial data, all the arc shape files are together, all the raster imagery all together, all the, if you had grids, they'd all be together, all the text is together. So if you want to, you can then edit those things as a group. So we can change the style of all of the text. In this particular case, we might want to make it to be green, and we want to make the relative size to be 250% bigger. Say OK. And then you'll see that the text that we added is all bigger. So the ability to group the layers, you can also create your own groups and put information into your own groups and store them out. So once you have lots of layers, it makes it much more easy to manage and manipulate and use your map. Okay, so the seventh good reason is adaptable color bars, and for that we're just going back to another map. This one here. This is the original map we looked at. And this particular map has a grid displayed, the same grid actually displayed twice. And actually when we come in to display the grid, we can have the color gradient, have different color gradients on different grids, and also we can have the idea of translucency. So because we have different grids with different color bars, once we say display map elements, we can come in and actually choose which color bar we want to use. We'll choose the top one first, and we can control how we have this, whether it's vertical, horizontal, etc. And then we'll display the second one. This is the Petrosys default color bar. And if you want to, also we can come and edit or grade it. So if you wanted to edit our color bars, we can do that as well, the color gradients. The eighth good reason to use Petrosys is the georeferencing of images. So what we'll do is we'll open up another map, and this particular map lets us show some georeferencing. The advantage of doing this is once we've got it all inside of Petrosys, so you can do all of your mapping and georeferencing inside of Petrosys, and you can either use a georeference image you create inside of Petrosys or outside of Petrosys. We're going to display a picture, a raster image. Now, if the raster image had georeferencing, it would allow us to put this in the correct location. It doesn't in this case. We'll say OK. Now, what we can do is, once we have the image, it's obviously not in the correct location. You can see the outline of Australia. If we highlight it and right-hand mouse button, we can georeference that image inside of Petrosys. Now, what this lets you do, it lets you select a what we call a ground control point on the image, post it to where it's going to be georeferenced. We'll do the same here. Now obviously I'm not doing this very accurately. If I wanted to, I could do it more accurately. And if you wanted to, as we're doing this, these ground control points, they actually put the locations up here. If we knew some well locations or block boundaries, for example, we could type them in, and then it would actually georeference them. What we can also do is create a georeferenced image from the georeferencing. So we actually create a new file, which will actually then be used either in Petrosys or in another package if you want to, and you can have different options and control how the georeferencing is done. It's very easy to operate. We'll say OK. We'll overwrite the image that's already there. And then what we see is that the image is now georeferenced. And if I go to display order, I could put that over the top, or what I could actually do is just change the translucency of it. Say OK. So I've changed the translucency, and now you can see that that image is actually georeferenced. Pretty roughly, it wasn't very accurate the way I did it, but that's the point we're trying to show. Number 9 is the good reason to use Petrosys is the production of map sheet templates. What we're going to show here is we don't want everyone to have to recreate their own map sheets as we go through, like company style to be created. So what we can do is if we start a map from scratch here, say no. First thing we could do is if we wanted to, we have a library of map sheets for each particular project. If you wanted to, you could actually import an individual map sheet from a central location, and that would move that map sheet into your current map sheet, and then you would be able to have your patrol comparison map sheet in here. So you'd be able to use the map sheet that you brought in from another project. So that's one way of doing it. So people don't have to, geoscientists don't have to create and manage their own set of map sheets. You have a company style, and you can just copy them into your own project very easily and very quickly. Okay, the second way of letting you manage your template is to actually, at the project point of view, so we go to the main project directory. And when we create a new project, we'll create a project called EAGE 2012. And there's a series of template projects that we create. So we can actually create a project for our UK, for example, or if we wanted one from another area, we could do. We'll select the CRS for this. So it's E50, Zone 30 North. We'll say OK, and we'll create a project. So we now have our EAGE project, and when we go into our EAGE project, it will now have a set of map templates that we've created. Someone else has created for us, and we've just been able to open them. So if we go open, we can create a map template, say from Central North Sea, and it will have the area of interest and the style for that particular part of the world. So we can actually use that for our map template. Come out of here. Okay, and finally, the 10th good reason for using Petrosys for your mapping is a wide choice of electronic output. So for this one, we're going to go back into the original project, into the mapping, and we'll open up one of the maps we used before. So OK. So once we have our map, we can actually create a number of different other paper or electronic formats for it. So in the simplest case, you might go View, Copy to Clipboard, and then save something to your clipboard, either of the map or parts of the map. Or if you go File, Print, there's two options. Either go straight to your printer drivers, in this case the window printer drivers we have, or Petrosys graphic drivers, which will let you create a number of TIFFs or JPEGs or JPEG 2000s or ECWs or ZGFs, a number of different graphic file types, either just of the map or just the map contents. And finally, if you want to export, you can export to Web Map Server or Google Earth or just a simple PDF. And I'll say simple PDF, we'll show you what we can do. We'll export geospatial and we'll export the layers. If you wanted to, you could just export the contents, and we'll export the whole map, which will include the borders. We'll say OK, and either the entire map or the current view. If you zoomed in, you can just see the part of it that you zoomed in on. And we'll replace it, and this will create a PDF for me. So here we have our PDF, and we can have, if we go in here, see our layers. If we wanted to switch off our contour lines, we can do, or switch off. So the layers in our Petrosys map have been replicated in PDF, and also the other tool you've got in the PDF viewer is the ability to geospatially locate where you are in the PDF, so you can actually move around and you can see where we are in real location on our PDF. Okay, so thank you for listening to the presentation. Here we have 10 good reasons for using Petrosys as your mapping system. If anyone has any questions, please contact a member of Petrosys staff and we'll be more than willing to talk you through some of the other functionality.